Okay, let's be real. The word boundaries makes a lot of people uncomfortable. Maybe it's because we were taught that saying no means letting someone down. Or maybe we just don't want to be seen as the bad guy. Either way, setting boundaries can feel like navigating a minefield of guilt, anxiety, and second guessing. But here's the deal: boundaries are not walls, they're bridges. They connect you to a healthier, more peaceful version of yourself. Boundaries aren't about shutting people out, they're about letting yourself in. So, if you're here because you're tired of saying yes when you really want to say no, or if you're done feeling like a doormat for other people's convenience, this is your sign to stop. Let's dive into how to set boundaries without that gnawing, soul crushing guilt. 1. Let's call out the fear. Why does setting boundaries feel so terrifying? 2 words: people pleasing. Somewhere along the line, we convinced ourselves that saying no makes us unkind, ungrateful, or unworthy. But let's flip the script. Every time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're actually saying no to yourself. Think about that. You're saying no to your peace, your time, your energy, all the things that keep you grounded. So, step 1 is realizing this. Setting boundaries doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person who values themselves. 2. Decide what you're protecting. Here's the tea. You can't set a boundary if you don't know what you're protecting. So, let's pause and reflect for a second. What's draining you right now? Is it a coworker who keeps piling their tasks onto your plate? A friend who only calls when they need something? That one family member who treats you like their personal therapist? Boundaries are about identifying your limits. They're like a security system for your emotional house. You get to decide what's allowed in and what needs to stay outside. Third, boundaries start with a no, but end with love. Let's talk about how to actually say it, because we've all been there, right? You want to set a boundary, but you don't want to come off as rude or mean. Here's the trick. Firm doesn't mean unkind. Instead of over-apologizing or over-explaining, try this. I can't commit to that right now, but I hope it goes well for you. I need some time to myself this weekend, but let's catch up next week. Short, sweet, respectful. Notice how there's no guilt tripping, no need to justify yourself. Just clarity with a side of compassion. 4. Guilt is a liar. Don't listen to it. Now here's where it gets tricky. Even after you set the boundary, guilt might come knocking. It'll whisper things like, "You're being selfish," or "What if they're mad at you?" But let me tell you something. Guilt is just an emotional habit. It doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It just means you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And that's a good thing. You're not responsible for how other people feel about your boundaries. The reaction isn't your homework to fix. 5. Boundaries are like muscles. Use them. Here's a little secret. Boundaries get easier the more you set them. The first time you say no, it might feel like ripping off a Band-Aid. But every time you protect your peace, you're building a habit of self-respect. And yeah, some people might push back. That's normal. But you have to remember, if someone gets mad because you're taking care of yourself, that's a reflection of them, not you. 6. You don't owe anyone an explanation. Let's just clear this up. You don't need a PowerPoint presentation to justify your boundaries. You don't owe anyone a reason for prioritizing yourself. It's okay to just say, "I'm not available for that." Full stop. If they press you, repeat it. You're not a vending machine where they can push buttons until they get the answer they want. 7. Boundaries don't ruin relationships. They reveal them. Here's the hard part. When you start setting boundaries, you'll learn who respects you and who doesn't. And that can be eye-opening. But it's also freeing. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries because they respect you. And the ones who don't? Well, maybe it's time to rethink their role in your life. 8. Celebrate the wins, even the small ones. Did you set a boundary today? Did you say no without spiraling into guilt? That's a win. Celebrate it. Boundaries are a practice, not a perfect. You're going to stumble sometimes, and that's okay. What matters is that you keep showing up for yourself again and again. Listen, setting boundaries isn't about being tough or cold. It's about honoring yourself. It's about saying, I matter too. And if someone has a problem with that, that's their journey, not yours. You're allowed to take up space. You're allowed to protect your energy. And you're allowed to set boundaries without feeling an ounce of guilt. Because at the end of the day, your peace is priceless. Protect it. Always.